to Big Bells Yarning. Today we are going to talk about yarn. So in my Facebook group I posted a couple of documents going over yarn weights as well as materials that yarn is made of. Now I didn't get into any of the specialty yarns such as plarns and paper and ribbon, but the basics are there so you can get a good understanding of the type of materials or fibers that you can get yarn in, as well as there's a chart on yarn weights. So it gives you a little bit of an idea when you're shopping for yarn for different projects, what exactly each particular yarn is how it's gonna work up, and the size of needles and hooks that you need to use. So our first one is a lace yarn. Now I don't have it because I really don't like working with cotton crochet thread. I just find it way too fine. But I do have, so that's number 0. So this one here, this as you can see is a super fine or a number 1. So every time that you purchase yarn, you can take a look at the label that's attached and you will get quite a bit of information off of here. So you get your yarn weight. So this is super fine yarn 1. Okay, and it gives you a recommended size of hook. There's also a recommended size of needle right here, 2.75 needle and a 3.5 hook. It also gives you a gauge, so how many stitches and how many rows you can get with these particular, if you use the recommended size. So this particular one is it's a loops and threads, and it is an acrylic and nylon mix. So this is so having a nylon mix gives you a really nice strong thread or fiber. It also has a natural shine to it. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but adding the acrylic to it gives it a really nice soft texture. So if you take a look at the actual size of the yarn, it's quite fine. This is fantastic for you making socks, also small baby items. Generally speaking, it's quite soft. Right? So that's a number 1. So a number 2, this one happens to be a cotton acrylic blend. And as you can see, it is a fine number 2. Okay, and it recommends a 3.5 millimeter needle and a 4 millimeter hook. And if we put it up to, that's a 2. And if we compare it with the 1, you can see that it's a good deal larger. Okay, so this is great for lightweight garments. It's good for thick socks. It's also another good option for baby items because it's nice and light. The thinner the yarn, often the longer it takes to work something else up. You can always combine yarns of the same weight or of different weights and different materials in order to get a different look. Next up is a size 3. So as you can see here, it's a size 3 light, and it's a 3.75 needle and a 5 millimeter hook. And this is what it looks like. Okay, again, it's slightly thicker than the number 2. This is also referred to as a DK or a light worsted yarn. Okay. This one here is a number 4 or a medium. Okay, so it's again slightly larger than the 3. You'll find that most patterns either call for a 3 or a 4. This is a good solid 4. Sometimes 4s are a little bit thicker depending on how the yarn is actually put together. I'll go over that in a minute. This here is a bulky. So this is a large 5. I have I finished the actual skein. Now it says it's a 6 on here or a super bulky, but it's actually closer to a 5. Okay, it's a large 5. This is also referred to as chunky craft or rug. The number 6 is usually a little bit fatter than this, and it's considered a bulky, super bulky, or roving yarn. Okay, so again, there's your yarn weight. There is your recommended needles and hooks. And this particular one doesn't have a gauge chart on it, I don't think. Does not have a gauge chart. So, one more time. Here's your size, your gauge chart for knitting, your gauge chart for crochet. Okay, and it's number of stitches versus number of rows. So, depending on the type of materials that go into the yarn will determine how the yarn is put together. So how the thread is extruded. So as you can see, this one here, this one is matted and then twisted. So 2 parts of the yarn are matted together and then they're twisted to form the actual cording. Okay, that's generally the way that it's going to be. Right, where it's a twisted yarn, so it either multiples like this, or 2 that are matted and then twisted. Generally speaking, that's pretty average of what you're going to find. All right, that's the most commonly used one. That where you won't see it is silk. Silk is extruded usually in single strands, and it usually is a fine crochet thread. The other things that you will see are chain, and I don't have any chain, unfortunately. You'll also have straight matted yarn, right? So it's spun right off like that. It's not spun together, like it's not twisted together like the other yarns. It's just right off of the spinning wheel and then sold as is in skeins. Okay, so that's a straight spun. You'll also find extruded yarns, so like this one here, right? This one is a chained extrusion, so it's comprised of lots of small chains all put together and extruded as a tube. I don't know if you can see that very well. No, you can't. Okay, the other option that you can find is a chain yarn. So it is extruded as a chain and then rolled into, show this very well. No, it's not going to show well. So it's actually it's chains that are put together and then twisted. I don't seem to have any of that to show you. So different types of materials that you'll find are usually listed on the label. Okay, so here we go. See, 100% acrylic. Acrylic is your most common material that you'll find in commercial yarns in the general mainstream. So in your big box stores such as Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's. Also online you'll find mostly acrylic. However, you can get blends. So this one here is a cotton acrylic blend. So it's 52% cotton and 48% acrylic. So it gives the feeling of cotton and the lightness of cotton, but the durability of acrylic. This one here is, there you go, 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. Okay, so that gives a nice, nylon is a very strong material, but it's not overly soft. So mixing it with acrylic gives it the durability of the nylon while still keeping it nice and soft. This one here that we were looking at, the super bulky one, this on here is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. Alright, so again, it gives the texture of acrylic, but still gives the feeling of wool. So as you can see, it's kind of fuzzy. Right, wool tends to be a little bit scratchy, depending on the type of wool that it's made out of. Usually Icelandic wool, because it's one of the cheaper brands, one of the cheaper types of wool. Another option that you can get is a bamboo blend. So this one here. So 60% acrylic, 20% nylon, and 20% viscose from bamboo. So viscose is any type of extruded fiber that is organic is the best way to say it. So extruded from a natural product. So bamboo, from seaweed, from wood pulp, that kind of stuff. That's your viscose. Now, not all yarns are actually going to tell you where the viscose came from. It'll just say viscose. And you kind of gotta just assume that it's going to be seaweed or wood pulp or bamboo. Okay. So this particular one, this is Pantone. Put it down. It's Karen Pantone. Okay, and again, it gives the size, your gauge, your yardage, and your materials. So over here on the yarn label, this will always be there. Okay, if you look at every single yarn label, these are your care instructions. Okay, not all of them will give a written explanation. Some of them will just have this. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of homework on what the symbols mean if there's no write-up. Okay, Karen has a tendency to be pretty simple. So this is washable and dryable, so it's machine wash and dry. A lot of them are going to say lay flat to dry. Yeah, see this one here? So it's machine washable, you can iron it, and lay flat to dry. Okay. Machine wash warm, lay flat to dry. Alright, this one here, machine washable, warm water, tumble dry. Okay, do not bleach, do not iron. And this one here. So this is warm wash, do not bleach, tumble dry, do not iron. Okay, and as you can see, this one doesn't actually have written instructions on care. Usually when I am giving a gift, I will include the label with that gift so that the people that have it have the washing instructions. Because I never want to see somebody, you know, have something that they absolutely love, they throw it in the wash, and then it shrinks or it pills. Pilling is when you get fibers bunching up and you get those little fuzzy balls all over the place. Wool does that a lot. Pretty much all wools will pill given time. So will your fleeces, which is a cotton blend. Your acrylics, depending on how it's spun, will determine whether or not it's going to pill. So again, I have a full write-up of the most basic materials that you'll find in yarns on my Binkerbell Yarnings Facebook page. So feel free to pop over there. Again, there's also the size charts that you'll have most common sizes. So if you have any questions about this or other materials and information that I've gone over in the past, or you'd like to see specific videos, just let me know in the comments section. And again, I'll have all my links, so to my Facebook page, my Ravelry page, my Pinterest, and my YouTube channel, all in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Ciao, we'll see you next time.